The memeclass tutorial documentation will start in 15 minutes. The memeclass tutorial documentation will start in 5 minutes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Gong! Hello and welcome to the memeclass worldwide workshop. My name is H1 and I'll guide you through this video tutorial documentation. Lay back and enjoy. First, I'd like to introduce you to the memeclass. It is a self-organized, open class guided by students. Everyone is welcome in this class, especially you. Take part, make friends, and connect through the digital and real life, and vice versa. As you may notice, today everything seems weird and a lot of these odd things are happening online. A significant part of society is socialized with the internet. We use it as a tool to learn, to share ideas and thought, to escape from everyday life or in order to make art. In the memeclass, we focus on digital phenomena, cultural techniques, and their aesthetic, social, and political dimensions, which, to be honest, sometimes can overwhelm everyone. Even though all the phenomena that occur on the internet are part of our everyday lives, it feels whimsical to talk about them, both with friends and in educational institutions like schools or art academies. This is where the memeclass comes in and offers an incentive to change it. We are interested in the situation between the physical and digital world, and we try to understand what a post-material, post-digital world could look like. We invite you to join us on a ride through the deep seas, the high mountains, the crazy jungles, and cozy homes of the World Wide Web. Become our friend. This workshop is divided into 2 units. This one is intended as preparation. Since we cannot meet, we have prepared a worksheet to bring you as close to us as possible. Please fill out the sheet individually. If you should feel confused, feel free to ask our workshop assistant for help. The sheet is divided into 3 exercises. The first exercise is called esoteric adding. Here, you will be able to meditate about your past, present, and future social media profile. The second one is dirty pleasure. Each of us consumes content on the internet that we do not necessarily share or talk about. While there are different reasons leading to this behavior, this exercise will enable you to break out of this habit. It is absolutely no problem if you ever feel stuck and your thoughts aren't flowing anymore. Just go to the third exercise to color and draw. Perhaps it will stimulate your thoughts and perceptions to move on. You have 15 minutes, but don't worry. You are free to complete the sheet during the video. The most important thing for this video tutorial is to enjoy the time. Before we move on to the next exercise unit, we would like to explore 2 topics in more depth. You may wonder how the meme class ended up here. A brief history of the European art academies may be helpful to outline the context and the tradition the meme class operates in. Art academies, as we know them today, were not always like that. They used to be weird and formal places, or like a meeting of groups of friends and fiends, instead of sitting in a classroom and wondering how these skills could ever become exploitable for other purposes. How did we get here? Let's just briefly go back into the prehistory of the art academy. Academia is a borough of Athens, where Plato and his friends met to talk about politics, philosophy, and why it's necessary to exclude women and own slaves. Whoops. There weren't any art schools then, but crafts, arts, philosophical and political practices weren't yet separated as they are today. Yet the academies that we will attend today reference these foundations in antique Athens. The next point in history is the Middle Ages. This is when the idea of the university, as we know it today, was born. Yet there were no specific art schools then. Artists were educated in workshops, while universities taught essential academic skills of logics, dialectics, and rhetorics. An education in the arts was an education in the craft of painting and sculpture, except for aristocracy, where it was just a cure for the boredom of entitlement and supremacy. During Renaissance times, academies still did not teach art, yet artists formed underground societies where they studied subjects excluded by the institutions. This is when academies were mostly like groups of friends, usually organized by rich and noble friends that performed plays, read poems, and met in study groups. The first art academy, as we know it today, was founded in 1560 in Florence. Accademia del Disegno, a famous fellow named Michelangelo, became its director. The academy taught manual and mental skills, the balance between theory and practice that is still appealing today. 100 years later, Friedrich Schiller, yes, the rather famous German poet, wrote several letters to a prince. In these letters that explore the current state of the world after the French Revolution, he proposes that to avoid further violence against the establishment, a certain kind of aesthetic education needs to be taught, in order to find an instrument that can develop a capacity for feeling without neglecting humans' rational capacities. In his 9th letter to him, he offers a solution. This instrument is fine arts. Up until this day, this idea and notion influences the constitutive reasoning when art schools are asked to defend their role. Through art, we might become better humans and citizens. The most influential art school was Paris Royal Academy of Painting and Sculpture, opened in 1850s, where students mostly copied antique sculptures and drawings as anatomical studies of normative physical perfection. Most importantly, though, the academy now became the place where students acquired their entire education without becoming an apprentice in a master's workshop. Yet, the students still weren't asked to be inventive or original. Here, we skip another couple of centuries of historically nuanced and globally diversified genealogy in order to make our point. #sorry not sorry. Then we arrived at the Bauhaus, where training in art was merged with ongoing industrialization and standardization. Through a new ideology of democratic rationality and seriality, practices of artists and designers were integrated with agendas of expansion and mass production. Ironically, the very same school began with rather a cold and perverse foundation that was slowly omitted as its history became canonized. Later in the 20th century, a number of art schools emerged that would become default references for countercultural pedagogies. They are as much significant as examples for how legends and myths are constructed as they are for the unique constellation of participants and practices. Among them are the Black Mountain College, famous for a convergence of US counterculture and avant-garde. The newly built CalArts with its School for Critical Studies and Feminist Art program. Both places would emphasize both on redeveloping the artist toolset towards media technologies, critical thinking, political and social practice, and cultures of consciousness. The very same experimentalism would soon be exploited by political agendas of higher education. As the number of academies, colleges, universities, and art students grew, the powers began to regulate and standardize education. This led to the exploitation of categories such as societal value and creative innovation, as universities scrambled to represent their value towards increasingly neoliberal governments. Artists began to look closer at the way artists' practices and the artist as a subject were shaped by institutions and regulations. As pressures of standardization increased, artists began to create spaces untouched or autonomous of bureaucracy. By the 90s, the internet began to emerge as a projection of utopian hopes. Education and creativity would be decentralized and truly democratic. Yet, this soon turned into a hyper-capitalistic nightmare. Art education became even further bureaucratic by digital technologies being employed for disciplinary and assessment measures. A genre of digital media or media art classes emerged in schools that were still largely modelled on schools such as in Paris or the Bauhaus. Very quickly, they too became increasingly historic as they sought integration with either the legacy art market dominated by fairs and galleries, or the media production market dominated by television, film, or video game industries. Around the same time, departments for cultural and critical studies were installed in art schools as measures to increase standardized education in the arts while developing talents for further integration with economies of knowledge. While this new regime of theory, knowledge, and research exactly discusses the separation between practices of art and pedagogy, it only appears to widen the gap. What does one learn in an art school? To be a citizen? To be a user? To be an artist? To be an art teacher? Do artists go to a school to become artists? Or is going to school as an artist a creative act of making a school? Out of this mess, the meme class emerged. Here, artists wonder about the role and practices of the artist and the art school in the age of World Wide Web, seeking pedagogical models that fit the climate of consciousness and collectivity set by surveillance capitalism. Finally, we have arrived in the here and now. The second topic we're diving into isn't about history, we promise. In this chapter, we would like to take a look at the phenomenon which leads us to the name of our class. We want to provide clarity in case you've never heard of a meme or you were wondering where that word actually comes from. The term meme is a neologism which was created to rhyme with gene, and the theory behind memes was invented by the British evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins. In his book, The Selfish Gene, the scientist applies the principle of the evolution theory to cultural development. He defines memes as units of cultural inheritance that are transferred from person to person by copying and imitation. According to Dawkins, melodies, thoughts, catchwords, fashions, the way of making pots or to build bows are all examples of memes. Memes as cultural units are distributed via various competing copying and processing systems. Susan Blackmore describes that telegraph, telephone, radio, and television are all steps on the way to an effective distribution of memes. The internet is one copying system among many, which seems to be distinguished by its fidelity of reproduction, longevity, and speed of distribution. Under these conditions, a new kind of meme has been established: the internet meme. The internet meme is usually a satiric image-text combination which circulates on social networks and various internet platforms. Internet memes have significantly changed the practice of speech and the handling of information, but its basic shape resembles everyday conversations or political cartoons in newspapers. There is a wide range of internet memes: the Monday sucks memes, the Zodiac memes, the classical art memes, and of course, all kinds of political memes. These memes not only address the conditions within large social groups, but also reflect small social gatherings. Therefore, it is important to understand internet memes as a relevant component of our communication. Internet memes are part of a decentralised, anonymous, and free communication system. Many see a democratic quality in its communication surfaces. Political internet memes even can develop into subversive media content in some cases. For instance, in countries where explicit criticism is actively deleted, the limited freedom of opinion and censorship leads internet users to find subversive symbols in word, image, and video, which are not recognized as such by the uninitiated. In this context, memes are more than just a way to vent anger and frustration. They are a powerful public statement of criticism and mistrust. Now, despite the positive view, let us not forget, memes are powerful. Images, and above all, the context in which they are used, often trigger strong emotions. These are capable of changing discourses, opinions, and ideologies. Since every political group communicates with memes, it is important to know the origin and use of mimetic images before using and reproducing them. Besides the Great Meme Wars, which may have decided on the US elections, there was also a meme revolution you may not have known about. In 2018, first critical meme accounts appeared at German art universities. Since then, students not only focus on the quality of their studies, but also point to political grievances within their own institutions. Some members of our class are pioneers of this meme revolution, not only by making memes, but by taking action, changing the university. This was a milestone for the meme class worldwide. To conclude, memes can be a statement about anything you're interested in, about all things that concern you and might matter to you. They can be the beginning of a conversation, the beginning of a critical discussion, or the beginning of an autonomous class. Before we move on, we'd like to bring some clarity as to why we think creating your own autonomous environment is so attractive. It is viewed as potentially disruptive, to be excited in work and education. The atmosphere of seriousness is viewed to be the essential ingredient for a successful work and learning process. To enter predefined structures of institutions, such as study programs and classes in universities, and to have the will to share a desire to encourage excitement goes beyond the institutional framework. Above that, most of us learn and work in conservative and traditional surroundings, where a hierarchy of speaking and listening is created. A single authority becomes an unstoppable audiobook, of monologues and instructions. In our opinion, a self-critical teacher or superior should be more of a guidance instead, one that leads the conversation, gives one a helping hand, and who is ready to learn at the same time. Rather than being satisfied with a given and well-known process, we should be more aware that everybody's presence is as important as the authorities. How we live and shape our relations in institutions is somehow deeply performative. This act of performativity is an important aspect of our work because it offers space for change, invention, and spontaneous shifts that can lead to structural changes. Embracing this phenomenon and the chance that lies therein, we're compelled to engage the audiences and to consider issues of reciprocity. Don't get us wrong. The people are not performers in the traditional sense of the word, and our work is not meant to be a spectacle. Yet, it is meant to serve as a catalyst that calls on everyone and invites to become more engaged and more active in one's environment. Now it is time to be excited. Whenever you feel interested in something, whenever you want to learn a new skill or change things, don't be shy. Create your class, institute, or a conversation group within the given structures. Do not look for an authority to teach or lead you, and don't let a passion be assigned to you. Be your own teacher or supervisor and make your friends teach you things you didn't know. It will boost your confidence, your knowledge, and your awareness about the structure you got into. Now, coming back to the second work unit, you have the opportunity to exchange your experiences with the other workshop participants. One of our favorite methods, which is used during our seminars and workshops, is the so-called esoteric adding. Let's start. Take out your phone, make yourself comfortable, open your mind and yourself for everyone in this room. First, we want you to take a peek on your digital self by sharing your interface habits and browsing histories beyond common content algorithms. Ask yourself, what social media do you use and what image do you create there? Did you use MySpace or Tumblr back in the day, and what about the people around you? Second, in which of the eternal paths of the internet did you get lost, and what new paths have opened up as a result? Maybe you'd like to share your guilty pleasure, for example a YouTube channel that helps you fall asleep or makes you laugh when you've had a bad day. You can also share a favorite website or blog that inspires you. Please gather round in a circle to share your internet observations, but don't forget about the safety distance. This conversational unit is based on trust, respect, and openness, so don't forget, sharing needs caring. The more honest you are, the more you will experience. The more empathy you feel, the more you will learn. let's conclude our journey and summarize the short video tutorial documentation. You have gained an insight into our work as an autonomous class. We went through the thicket of Eurocentric art school history to understand why it is important to follow a path of excitement in predefined structures and how a supposedly arbitrary internet phenomenon can become an effective form of criticism. We are aware of the fact that all concerns, all forms of criticism and activism are only for a certain moment. Attention rises and falls as time goes by. But we can try to transform the energy of excitement into something that will last longer. So feel free to follow our advice and turn a part of your work, training or education into a meeting with like-minded, passionate friends. Install this unit into the structure you are in, and you'll see that sharing knowledge will become easier, more democratic and natural. We believe that there is something magical in outspoken thoughts, especially when they are shared with others. That is why we share our experience, knowledge and approach. We hope that some of our thoughts will stick with you. Take them, question them, and discuss them with others. Stay in touch with us and everybody who has participated in this workshop, if you want to. We look forward to every connection that lasts and hope to see you soon. Please leave the worksheet at the counter. If you wish to keep the sheet, we will send you a digital copy via mail. Leave your email address at the counter. Thank you for joining. XOXO, your Memeclass Worldwide.